In this chapter, we will discuss observation and interviewing in qualitative research. Observation and interviewing are major techniques researchers use to collect data in qualitative research. If you enroll in a qualitative research course, you will be trained to collect data through observation and interviewing. First, observation. Certain kinds of research questions can best be answered by observing how people act or how things look. It is a commonly used technique in schools, especially for younger children. Researchers can observe classroom activities based on their research questions. There are 4 ways researchers can take in observations. In participant observation studies, the researcher actually participates as an active member of the group in the situation or setting that they are observing. In non-participant observation studies, the researcher does not participate, but rather observes from sidelines. Naturalistic observations involve observing individuals in their natural settings. A simulation is an artificially created scenario in which subjects are asked to act out certain roles. Presence of an observer can have a considerable effect on the behavior of those being observed and affect the outcome of the study. Unless the researcher is actually concealed, it's likely that they will have some form of effect upon the individuals that are being observed. For this reason, participants should not be informed of the study's purpose until after data has been collected. Observer bias refers to the possibility that certain characteristics or ideas of observers may bias what they see. Observer expectations is a related concern. When an observer knows to observe certain characteristics of subjects, they may adhere to those particular observations about what they expect to see. This is related to the researcher's subjectivity in qualitative studies. Comparing notes or impressions with other researchers is very important. It can help to reduce observer bias and observer expectation threats. When researchers code observational data, they need to create a coding theme, which is a set of categories an observer uses to record a person or group's behavior. An observer still has to choose what to observe even with a fixed coding scheme. But the data are coded into categories that emerge as the analysis proceeds. Let's move our discussion to interviewing now. The interview is used to find out how participants think or feel about something. It can be used to cross-check the accuracy of data obtained from observations. There are different types of interview strategies based on the structure of the interviews. First, structured interviews involve verbal questionnaires or a formal series of questions designed to elicit specific answers on the part of respondents. Structured interviews are useful in obtaining information to test a hypothesis. Semi-structured interviews also include those same verbal questionnaires, but they can be more open-ended. You can include why questions, for instance, or you could take a respondent's prior response and ask a new question to follow up on their answers. Semi-structured interviews are best conducted near the end of a study. Informal interviews are obviously less formal than structured and semi-structured interviews, and they involve casual conversations which pursue the interests of both researchers and respondents. Informal interviews are considered the most common form of interviewing and can really set your participants at ease. Finally, retrospective interviews can use an informal, semi-structured, or structured approach, but they try to get the respondent to recall and reconstruct from a memory on something that has happened in the past. This could be used effectively in historical research. There are 6 types of interview questions you may encounter: background or demographic questions, knowledge questions, experience or behavior questions, opinion or values questions, feeling questions, and sensory questions. You can use one or all of these in combination when conducting an interview. Almost all interviews will include background or demographic questions, so that you can look for differences among groups. 2 more common terms in interviews. Key actors are people in any group who are more informed about the culture and history of the group, and who are more articulate than others. They normally provide valuable information about participants. A focus group interview is an interview with a fairly small, homogeneous group of people who respond to a series of questions asked by the interviewer. Here are a set of expectations which all interviewers should follow. Validity and reliability are very important concerns in qualitative research. Researchers often use the term credibility or trustworthiness to encompass not only instrument validity, reliability, but also internal validity. It is essential that you compare one informant's description of something with another informant's description of the same thing. Triangulation is a check on reliability validity by comparing different information on the same topic. Efforts should be made to ensure reliability and validity by including proper vocabulary, by recording the questions and the participants' personal reaction, and by describing the content and documenting your sources. That's it for today. Next, we will discuss content analysis, which is a major way to analyze qualitative data too.